Hey, boys and girls, Mr. Mac. Today we are going to be multiplying by one-digit numbers. A quick little review to go over the multiplying of one-digit numbers. Okay, there's a word problem that's shown on your screen. It says Ada walks 1,274 steps once around her neighborhood. If she walks around her neighborhood 3 times, how many steps does she walk? Now, we can talk about estimating where we do some rounding, right? And we haven't gotten to rounding yet, so we're gonna not worry about that right now. We're gonna go down to the actual problem here of how to solve 1,274 times 3. Okay, so we've gone over this before. The 3 is here. We need to multiply the 3 by every single thing on the top. So we get 4 times 3 is 12. Put down the 2 and we carry our 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22, so I put down my 2 and I carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, so I'll put an 8 in the box. And then 3 times 1 is 3. So our correct answer here would be, these are supposed to have numbers in there. Sorry about that. These got cut off a little bit. So it should be 3,822 for multiplying by a single digit number. So if we were looking at this problem now and we were talking about estimating, we would need to learn how to round for this problem. So for rounding, we are going to look at the largest place and kind of look to the neighbor here and say, okay, I have a 1 and the neighbor is a 2. This 2, if it is 5 or more, we let the 1 soar. If it's 4 or less, the 1 is going to rest. So that is less, so we're going to have a 1 here. And then everything after it's going to become a 0. So we should have 1,000. Oops, ran out of space there. And then we have the 3, so it'll be 1,000 times 3. And when we learned about multiplying by multiples of 10, you do 3 times 1 is a 3, and then there are 3 zeros. So your answer should be somewhere around 3,000. And in this example, it is 3,822. So that is a reasonable answer. It's a reasonable answer if it's around 3,000. Now, if it was 38,220, we would know that somewhere there was a mistake that was made. So this is a quick review of multiplying by one digits and also by about estimating for one-digit multiplication. And when we talk about multiplying with multi-digit numbers, which we've done and we're going to review again, we're going to look at another problem here that says the cost for a summer camp is $1,125 for each camper. If 65 campers sign up, what's the total amount the camp has to collect? Now, for estimating on this problem, if we were going to estimate, we have 1,125, which again, if we're rounding, we look to the neighbor of the big place here. Okay, the 1 means it's less than 4, so we're going to let this rest. So this is going to stay as 1,000. Okay, and then for the 65, okay, you could leave that 65 as it is if you would like, and you could say, okay, 65 times 1,000. We've learned that 65 times 1 is 65. And then we add on the 3 zeros when you multiply by a multiple of 10 or a power of 10, and your estimate could be 6,500. Now, if you're not so comfortable with that, you could round 65 and say, okay, so I look to the neighbor, it's 5 or more, so the 6 is going to soar. So the 6 would become a 7, and then everything after it would become a 0. So then we would be doing 70 times 1,000, which again is still multiplying by multiples and powers of 10. So for this example, it would be 7 times 1 equals 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Okay, so then I got to put my comma in. So my estimate would be 70,000. So if you look at our two estimates, 65,000 and 70,000, they're both pretty close to one another. So both estimates could be realistic. All right. So now when we go down to our work it out steps here, okay, we know that the first thing we're going to have to do is multiply by the 5 here. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25. I put down my 5 and I carry my 2. Okay, and then 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So I put down my 2 and I carry my 1. Okay, 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6. So I put that 6 down, and then 5 times 1 is going to equal 5. Now, if you'll notice on this problem, right, there's nothing left here because this is just the multiplying by the 1 step right here, okay? We're going to go down further, and we're going to say, okay, let's save that so that when we go down to multiply by the tens place, we have our answer in here already, 5,625. Now we're going to multiply by the tens. Remember, when you multiply by the tens, the first digit that goes in there is a 0 because we're multiplying by the tens place, so the ones is going to have a 0 in it, all right? So now we're doing 6 times 5 is going to be 30, so I put down my 0, and I carry my 3 up top, okay? It's hard to see that 3 there, so that's okay. After that, we do 6 times 2 is 12, plus that 3 is 15. So I put down my 5. I carry my 1. All right. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then 6 times 1 is 6. Remember, when you're multiplying by tens, you multiply it by every place up on the top. All right. So for now, I'm going to save that, and I'm going to scroll down even further. And now we've got to work our final part here. Okay, so when we work on our final part for this problem, we're just adding. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 6 plus 5 is 11. Put down there, carry a 1. 7 plus 5 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. Put down my 3, carry my 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. So my answer should be 73,175. All right, so if I'm checking my work down here, we said it was 73,100 and, excuse me, yes, we had 25. 73,125, 73,125. When I check my work, okay, it says great effort, and the answer is 73,125. So we got it correct, okay? So they're asking next is your answer reasonable? To find out if your answer is reasonable, look at your estimates. So when we go up to the top and we look at our estimates, okay, we said our estimates were 70,000 and 65,000, right? So when I go and look at my answer of 73,125, are those estimates close? Yeah, they're in the same ballpark. They're not right next to it, but they make sense. Okay, they're both in the 10,000s and the 70,000, 60,000 range, and that makes our answer a reasonable answer. Okay, so just wanted to add on the multiplying single digits and multiplying multiple multi-digit numbers because that is something that we have reviewed recently. That's all we have for this video. Hopefully you guys are feeling sharp and feeling ready for the activities that are to come next. Good luck, guys.